Hi, I'm Sam Smith from Sam Smith Reining Horses. We're here at my facility in Marietta, Oklahoma, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we can keep these horses from getting aggressive, getting strong, or taking off in the rundowns. Like just about everything else, this can happen at in different different levels, anywhere from just flat throwing their head up and taking off to, you know, rider in finals of the Open Futurity, maybe having to pick his hand up just a little bit in that rundown, and everything in between. First, I'm going to talk about the worst case scenario. I'm going to talk about that horse. So usually, you know, we all see that horse take off about halfway down that rundown, but that's not where that starts, okay? It usually is going to start after the lead change. The horse, the rider loses contact with that horse mentally and then starts to lose some control. They don't really think about it or worry about it because it's not real bad yet. But that horse goes into this corner with his shoulder down and then turns this corner, and they don't really bring that shoulder around, get him real straight, get him stood up. So now that horse has all the advantage. When that horse goes into this corner with his shoulder dropped, I liken it to a lineman on a football team. When he drops his shoulder, he's got all the power. He can move a 300-pound center off the line of scrimmage. So that horse drops that shoulder. he makes it very hard to control, and he knows it. Not only is his body in a good position to control you mentally, he thinks he's kind of bad. So if we can keep that horse's shoulder stood up, maybe even take him off this way a time or two, so he knows we can keep him stood up. Now we can control his body and control his feet. We get over here, turn and move that shoulder. That breaks that horse's momentum up, gets him straight through his body, so if he does run good to that stop, his body's straight so he can function properly. We got a lot better chance for a good rundown. So once we feel like we've cleaned that up a little bit, I'm gonna fence this mare a little bit, see what she's thinking about. Okay, that's a pretty good rundown. Real consistent, even building. Not much for me to do there. How I've got her to do that, and we talked about it a little bit in the other segment, I keep that outside leg just pressed on her and squeeze her all the way down through there. She wants to run in a good frame, which helps. She's always in a good position to stop. So she, luckily right now, hadn't been shown a whole lot. She doesn't know really a whole lot different. We're gonna see if we can get her to take off just a little bit, get a little aggressive, and see what we might do to fix it. Okay. She kind of volunteered a gear at the end there that I didn't really ask for, so maybe we got something to work on. The one thing that I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna babysit her. I'm not gonna try to check her with my hand. That's not my job. My job is to push her forward, dictate the direction just a little bit, but so she went to take off there just a little bit. I'm just gonna break her down. I'm gonna be real clear in what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna soften her face. I'm not gonna drag her in the ground. Took me a little while to get her broke back there a little bit, but I'm not that concerned about that. I just want her to know that I'm not gonna allow that. I'm not gonna just draw her in the ground, because to me it's a little bit too abrupt, too harsh a punishment, especially for this mare, and tends to make them get rigid and stiff through their bodies and can affect their stop in a negative way. The only time I might is when I pick up. If they just push through my hand, I might say, hey, that's not what it's about, and I may have to reprimand them a little bit, but I prefer to keep them going forward. So I pick my hands up. Why doesn't she come to a complete stop? Because I got my feet on her, driving her forward, lifting her shoulders up, getting her back up, softening that brain, getting that body in a good position where it can function properly in a stop. Okay, I'm gonna push her hard the other way and see what happens. So I know this is a horse that wants to take off in the rundown, so to speak. So I'm looking, I'm baiting her a little bit. I'm looking for it. I don't want it not to happen, okay? Sometimes we want our horses to be good at home. Boy, I like it more than anybody because it shortens my day by quite a bit, but it doesn't get us any closer to being successful in a show pen. If it's an older horse that we have some issues in a show pen, the only way they get better is if we bring them out at home, we work on them, we fix them, and then we go to the next show and see how good a job we did. They're not going to get better by babysitting a horse, protecting them, or hoping that they don't happen. Okay, and I've sure been guilty of that before. It makes for a nice day at home, but a lot of times not for a great horse show. Okay. Mare was real good there. Okay. Makes me think maybe she learned a little something last time. I'm gonna bring her a little harder. She hasn't made a believer out of me yet. Well, it helps if you can get one to lope off on the correct lead. That's all right. There's only one pattern. We gotta take a lead departure in the show pen. It's pattern 3, and you gotta take the right lead, so I got her ready for that. So that mare was real good there. She was doing exactly what I asked her to do, but I kind of picked my hands up as if to show you what I would do if she was the one offering up the speed, not me, okay? The other thing that I do when I'm fencing, when I come off this end, and I do this to back a horse off a little bit, but when I lope off this end, I want, first off, I will say every time I go to lope off, I've got at least some sort of plan. I got something in mind that I'm working on. If this mare leans to the left on the right lead, I'm thinking about putting my hand in the middle of her neck, feeling if she's going to pull to the left a little bit or if she's going to go straight, if I need to redirect her, whatever. So I've got some goals in mind. One thing, when I lope off, I want this horse to be as serious about this drill as me. And you know, you ride some horses, you lope off, and they got their ears up, and they're looking down that pen, and all they can think about is how fast they can get down there. For those horses, I will do this. I'm not going to lope them off and check them, pick my hand up. Oh, you're good. I may lope them off and pick my hand up, make sure they're soft in the face, and then drop my hand and start coming with them. But if I feel them being strong, my correction's not to pick my hand up and then drop it again. Okay, because then I don't feel like I've done them any justice. I haven't made any kind of correction. All I've done is kind of satisfy myself. With those horses, I'm going to lope them off, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to push my feet off, and then I'm going to back them up again. And I'm probably going to get after her just a little bit. I'm either going to push my feet off or I'm going to pick my hand up, depending on which one I think the horse needs. I like these horses to be very in tune with my feet coming off. Every good stopper that I've ever rode, when you do that, they do just what this mare's doing right now. The ones that'll slide at a walk, those are the ones you want to show. So I want them tuned up to those feet, and I also want them very responsive and respective of my hand. So I'll do one or the other, and sometimes both. The nice thing about doing this, and I may also do this to a horse that is a little bit lax about stopping, I may lope him off here and ask him to hit his hocks a time or two before I go down and stop him, because this is a place that I can whoa. I feel like I can get after this horse just a little bit if I have to. Not that I would. And not have a negative effect. Sometimes if we get to schooling on those horses about that stop down there at the end of the pen where we actually need them to stop, they get a little bracy, they get a little apprehensive. Now they don't want to go down there because they think that there's some punishment down there. So I'd much rather do it just in the first 20 feet. If that horse will hit those hocks and roll those withers, stick his wither up in your chin, roll his back up and drop his neck, going slow, he'll dang sure do it running wide open at the other end. I say that, let's see what she does. Whoa. There you go.
60% of lameness in performance horses is caused by degenerative joint problems, so maintaining healthy joints is a top priority for horse owners. SmartFlex is the official joint supplement brand of AQHA, and the line includes 7 targeted formulas that are used across all disciplines and levels. The SmartFlex family makes it easy to choose the perfect formula for your horse's needs, and they're all guaranteed to work. Visit smartpack.com/smartflex to find your horse's perfect joint supplement today.